Hi, it's Paulie here, looking at more role-playing games. Now, I've said before that one of my strange little loves is the post-apocalypse sort of setting for role-playing games. Now, there's been Gamma World, which I think is fun and joyous and kind of whimsical, and, you know, there's been lots of good attempts. Now, there's a game which takes its cues way more from, I would say, Mad Max and so on than most of these games. And this is Mutant Epoch. Mutant Epoch is a delight. Look, this is by William Outland. And when I say it's by William, it's all by William. This lunatic, I adore him. He heavily illustrates his own books. These are illustration rich. He writes them. He does dozens of adventure settings for them, adventures for them. He does basically an online magazine for this, so that there's always like a creature of the week and so on coming up on these things, adventures and so on. I'm worried he's going to die of exhaustion because there's just so much he brings out for this. It's all good work, and yeah, so I want to take a look at this. So, why would you play this rather than, let us say, Gamma World? Well, this is, as you can tell from the cover, this is way more blasty, Warhammer 40k, blow the living daylights out of things, holding my Gatling gun or blazing out with my, electro-mutant powers. Mutants have got hideous claws and so on. It's way more kind of combat-y, kick in the ass. To be quite honest, if I had been a 15-year-old kid and found this, I would have been immediately in love with it. And that's what this is. This is the post-apocalypse role-playing game for the 15-year-old that lives inside us all. So, look, what he has done is, this is a percentage-based system. So, when you roll skills, percentage chance of them happening, and that core of it is fairly simple. It's wrapped around with an awful lot of charts. Now, this guy has really embraced the old school ethic of random charts and things. So, character generation. You can choose to be something, or you can roll on a chart. So there's like pure strain humans. There's different types of mutants and so on. So he's gone ghost mutant. There's someone who's got mutant powers, but it doesn't look like they've got them. Visibly, they seem fine unless you manifest. But there's the actual mutants are like quite physically mutated and like rah, they got all kinds of weird things going on here. And you generate character traits. So now it's not a simple roll dice and put down your characteristics. There is a chart you roll, percentile dice on it, and you look across and it'll give you a value. So, it's like if I roll up 38, I've got like 28 value here. But it's an asymptotic chart, so that as you get up to the really narrow numbers at the high 90s and 100s, these values extremely increase. So we go from like 10, 20, 30, 40 in values to we get like D100 plus 20 is going to be the value for these things. So you could have characters that are very, very highly rated in different things. You pick the kind of tribally backgrounds that you come from, given what sort of race you are. There's different charts that you can roll on. You can be cyborgs and clones and artificial beings and all sorts of stuff, and you get all these kind of initial tribal roles that you've been in. You might have been a slave, you might have been a cattleman, you might be one of the town guards somewhere, you could be a scout, you could be a forester. They give you a slew of different skills and different changes to your characteristics and so on. And there's really nice descriptions of all these different castes and so on. So the setting that this guy has chosen is not quite the usual apocalypse. It's been a high-tech, but not Gamma World crazy high-tech. So there has been a society, but they've still used, bullets in their guns and, Kevlar vests and so on. However, they had a lot of stuff going with robots and cybernetic organisms and some of these kind of cloning technology and so on, so higher tech than us. And the idea is it was kind of a slow collapse, so things kind of grunged up and collapsed and places got grotty, and then plague started and wars happened, and then there's been this fall, and now humanity is these weird ass little town states and tribes and so on, and it's no longer the age of dominance of man. There are huge mutant tribes out there that are all kind of, you know, cannibalistic Morlock sorts. Your skull locks, I like that, one of the main tribes. They'll bust out there and eat you. But so you've got all of these kind of really nifty things you can do, and again, this chap is using his art to communicate his setting and his idea, and he's doing a very, very good job of it because he's just such a prolific damn illustrator. There's different animal sorts that you can be. You can be, you know, mutated animals and so on, and you'll get a few kind of interesting bits of armor covered with a variable number of spikes. You can be junk crafters and so on. You can make stuff out of junk, you know, right up to like trying to make sailing ships, or, you know, try and hammer together a paraglider or a some kind of Mad Maxy junky car. So it's got that kind of feel to it. The towns are all like, you know, made from bits of junk, and people are armored up in bits and pieces of things that they found, and real armor and bits of metal and so on. So, you know, this thing's a riot. It can be a little bit complex to look at the way he's done things, because he's got that kind of this sort of has a lot of roots in kind of 90s designs where people wanted to cover absolutely everything in detail. So he's done that. He's got details for, you know, putting together cars. He's got details for exactly how your sniper rifle variants can work. There's hundreds of pieces of information for bits of equipment, different bits of spells, different races, different weird abilities. The skills, you get ratings in them, and they add to your basic chance of success. So, you know, there's a little bit of messing about there as your experience goes up. You know, you've got to figure out what your skill level is and what exactly that adds in. But however, combat is pretty simple. You've got initiative, you're rolling percent of dice to hit, obviously, and you've got hit points that are going down. And as you get experience, your characteristics go up. You get skill points to spend on your skills, and your endurance, which is your hit points, kind of goes up, so you become tougher. It's uncapped. You can just sort of keep on going quite happily, and there are all these kind of really interesting mutations and things you can go. He's got a nice little system where he's got a chart of threats and things like radiation and poison and so on, and other deadly things that you might come across, disease and whatever, and you can just sort of cross-index these things to find out what damage they do to you. This is a type A threat, B, C, D. So he can use that for like gas that's floating in an area, or, you know, the venom from this Gila monstery creature and so on. So, you know, that's his setting, and it is full of all these wonderful beasties that he's made. These are like done in great detail. They're grungy. They got this wonderful kind of spiky artwork that he does. There's horrible mutant-y things, and so this is full of exciting things to do. There's some basic adventures that come with this. Comes out as a hardcover. There's also a soft cover, so, you know, you have your pricing options. But this is where this guy being so prolific comes in. So you get things like Petford, Gateway to the Ruins. So this guy has done, this is essentially a campaign setting for you. It is a junky kind of town. There are all these there's a ruined city nearby, so people are going to mine this thing. So this is the base that you live in, and he's done all the city where you can go and you can try and find cool things to basically trade off to people for money. And this town, it's got, you know, its intrigues, and it's got its weird law enforcement things, and it's got its markets that you can buy, and it's got its adventures inherent in it. This is a great piece of work. So you've got an immediate game setting for people. You know, there's gladiatorial battles and all sorts of things that you can get into. He's also done the Crossroads region. So you've got this huge book, which is a map area for a broader campaign. If you want to go exploring. So he's got all the tribes and all the creatures and all these sort of different city-states that are there, and what it's like to deal with them, and what technologies they've got. And so again, a great piece of work, prolifically illustrated, huge amount of writing that he's done on this. And then, you know, we get things like this. He does his Excavator Monthly, these magazines. Now these magazines they tend to have, you'll find these up on Lulu and so on, and he'll have media chatter. These are things in the these campaign regions. These are basically adventure hints. Someone's lost something, someone's looking for someone, something's disappeared, an artifact has been spotted. He'll put in Monster of the Month, he'll put in adventures and so on in these, and you know, so lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of this sort of material out. This is a great convention adventure, the Mall of Doom, where you can take your guys, and basically it is a dungeon adventure fighting hordes of carnivorous cannibal mutants, but it's in an old shopping mall, so it's like it's kind of neat as you're wandering around. You realize, this is a water feature in a lobby, and that's a sports bra store. Okay, you know, so it's this was a great little convention adventure that he's done, and again, you know, we get other things, you know, Beyond the Bad Crater. So this is an incredibly well supported system. So you know, honest thoughts about it. Well. It's fussy. The system that he's done, it could have been simpler. It's simple to grasp. It's a percentile system. You've got these skill levels that are adding to your rolls, simple hit dice for combat, and a simple kind of saving throw system to see whether threats like venom and so on affect you and so on. But there's a huge amount of material in there and charts and so on for mutations and powers and things like that you might have. This is a wealth of stuff that you can comb through. It's kind of interesting making characters for this because there's lots of detail that you can put into it. But if you've got players that have been playing things like Gamworld and so on, this is actually a pretty good choice for a new game to run for them, because it's grungier than the setting they're into. It's way more two-fisted. The monsters and so on are all a surprise. It's got way more of that Mad Max kind of Warhammer 40k skull creatures bursting out of swamps and carnivorous dragonflies swarming at you, and weird cannibals living in old ruins kind of thing. It's way more combative. It's way more grungy, as I said. This is what your 15-year-old self probably wanted to do in all of those apocalypse settings. Get out there with your crossbow and your armor made out of plastic bits, and you're riding your strange mutant beast, but your friend, he's got some sort of electric motorcycle, and you're out there and there's a heavy metal track playing, and you guys are punks all hell, and don't look for deep cultural nuance, but this could be a hell of a ride. I suggest that you go and have a look. This guy deserves a ton of love. He deserves a lot of love from the community simply for the amount of energy he puts into this thing. Kudos to you, William. Please don't drop dead of exhaustion. Keep writing. And you guys, go pick up his game. Okay, cheers.